You think you're alone. And if you're honest, it doesn't just feel like silence. It feels like distance, like you're moving through life, but not really connected to it. You see people around you. You talk. You interact. But internally, it feels like no one really understands what you're carrying. And that feeling, it's heavier than most people admit. Because loneliness is not always about being physically alone. It's about feeling unseen, unheard, unfelt. Let me say something that might shift your perspective immediately. You are not alone in feeling alone. And that sounds simple, but it's deeper than you think. Because right now, there are millions of people silently carrying the same weight. They smile publicly, they function daily, but internally they're asking the same questions you are. Why does this feel so empty? Why do I feel disconnected even when I'm surrounded by people? Why does it feel like I'm the only one struggling like this? You're not. You're just one of the few willing to notice it. Here's what most people are missing. They think connection comes from proximity. Being around people, talking, engaging. But real connection comes from alignment, from being understood, from being honest enough to show who you really are. And that's where most people disconnect, because they're not showing themselves. They're presenting versions. Let's go deeper. You've learned how to function, how to respond, how to play your role. But somewhere along the way, you started filtering your thoughts, holding back your truth, adjusting your personality to fit situations, and slowly, without realizing it, you created distance between who you are and how you show up. That distance, that's what you feel. Not just loneliness, disconnection from yourself. This is not just about other people not understanding you. This is about you not fully expressing yourself. And when expression is blocked, connection becomes impossible, because people can only connect with what you reveal, not what you hide. Now let's be honest. Why do you hide? Why do you filter? Because it feels safer. Safer to avoid judgment, safer to avoid rejection, safer to avoid being misunderstood. So you stay guarded, you say less than you feel, you show less than you are, and then you wonder why connection feels shallow. Here's the paradox. The more you protect yourself, the more isolated you feel, because protection creates distance, and distance prevents connection. But this is only one part of it. There's something deeper. You think you're alone because you're comparing your internal reality to other people's external presentation. You see their highlights, their confidence, their progress, and you assume they're not struggling. But what you don't see is their internal dialogue, their doubts, their quiet battles, their moments of uncertainty. Everyone is carrying something. They're just not showing it. Let me tell you something real. Strength is often silent, struggle is often hidden, and most people are better at appearing okay than being okay. So when you look around and feel like you're the only one struggling, you're not seeing reality, you're seeing performance and comparing it to your truth. That comparison will always make you feel isolated. Let's shift your perspective. Instead of asking, why am I alone? Ask, what am I not seeing? Because what you're missing is this. You are surrounded by people who are also navigating uncertainty, also trying to figure things out, also questioning themselves. The difference is, they don't say it out loud. Now here's the powerful part. The moment you start expressing honestly, something changes. Not everyone will understand you, but the right people will, and those connections will feel different, deeper, real, because they're based on truth, not performance. But expression requires courage, because it means being seen without filters, and that's uncomfortable, but growth always is. Let's go even deeper. Sometimes the feeling of being alone is not about people at all, it's about purpose. When you don't feel aligned with where you're going, everything feels disconnected, even relationships, even conversations, because internally you're searching for direction. And without direction, connection feels incomplete. So part of what you're missing is clarity. Clarity about who you are becoming. clarity about what matters to you, clarity about what you're building. Because when you're aligned internally, external connections start to feel stronger. Here's another truth. Not every season of your life is meant to feel connected. Some seasons are meant to feel quiet, isolated, focused, because growth sometimes requires separation, not forever, but temporarily. Think about it. When you're evolving, your old environment may not match your new direction. Your conversations change, your interests shift, your mindset expands, and naturally, distance appears. That's not failure, that's transition. But if you misunderstand that season, you'll think something is wrong, when in reality, something is changing. Let me reframe this for you. You are not alone. You are in a phase of realignment, a phase where you're outgrowing old patterns, old conversations, old versions of yourself, and that space between who you were and who you're becoming feels like isolation, but it's actually transformation. Now here's your role in this. Don't rush to fill the silence. Don't immediately escape the discomfort. Use it, reflect, understand yourself deeper, build clarity, strengthen your internal foundation. Because the stronger you are internally, the more meaningful your external connections become. Let's talk about something practical. If you want to feel less alone, don't just seek more people. Seek better conversations, more honesty, more depth, more alignment. Because connection is not about quantity, it's about quality. And that starts with you. Are you being honest in your interactions? Are you expressing what you truly think? Or are you staying safe? Because safe conversations create shallow connections. Real conversations create real bonds. Here's the shift. Stop waiting to be understood. Start being understandable. Say what you mean. Share what matters. Speak your truth clearly, not aggressively, not emotionally, but authentically. Because the moment you do that, you give people something real to connect with. And real connection breaks isolation. Let's bring this home. Right now, you feel like you're alone. But what you're actually experiencing is a lack of alignment, a lack of expression, and a lack of visibility into other people's struggles. Fix those three, and everything changes. Here's your activation. Today, do one thing differently. Express something real. Have one honest conversation. Remove one filter. Say something you would normally hold back. That small act can shift your entire experience. Because connection doesn't start with others, it starts with you showing up fully. You are not alone. You are just in a space where you're becoming more aware, more real, more aligned. And awareness can feel isolating at first, but it leads to something better. Deeper connection, stronger identity, clearer direction. One day, you'll look back at this season and realize it wasn't loneliness, it was preparation. Preparation for relationships that match your growth. Preparation for clarity that guides your path. Preparation for a version of you that no longer feels disconnected. So if you feel alone right now, don't panic. Don't retreat. Don't assume something is wrong. Pause, reflect, adjust, and continue. Because you're not alone, you're just seeing more than you used to. And once you understand that, you stop feeling lost and start feeling aware, and awareness is the beginning of everything changing.